Hey there, it's Sharon Pope. If you have been struggling in your marriage for years and been stuck in indecision of not knowing whether to stay or go, I understand why you're stuck because this is probably one of the biggest decisions that you will ever make in your life. Now, here's what I want you to know before we get started. This is a pre-recorded teaching that I'm doing, but I want you to know I am in the chat. So I'm live in the chat. So if you have questions as I'm going through this, please put your question in the chat and I will be glad to engage with you and answer it. So if you have been stuck in indecision for years, I want to help you understand why you're stuck and give you something to think about today. So I think that how we do one thing is how we do everything. So my hunch is if you have been struggling with this decision for years, maybe even a decade or more, then you probably aren't terribly decisive in other areas of your life too. And here's how you know whether or not that's you. So if you are someone who overthinks things a lot, you're in your head a lot, maybe you tend to overcomplicate things, then you might be a little bit indecisive. Indecisive people will second guess themselves. They take a long time to come to a decision. And once they do, they will often second guess that decision. They won't just move forward towards that decision. They will tell themselves that they need 100% of the information. They need absolute certainty before they will ever move, before they will ever move forward in any direction, one way or the other. Like, I'm not going to lean back into my marriage unless it's guaranteed. And I'm not going to end my marriage unless I know that everyone that I love and everything is going to be okay. 100% certainty is a myth. That's not even possible. We don't actually know what the future holds. So if you wait until you have 100% certainty, my friends, you will be waiting forever. People who are indecisive tend to focus on the risk involved. And so they want to explore every possible angle of what could go wrong. And so when you are thinking about what's at risk, you are operating from a place of fear. And my friends, when fear is driving the bus, we are never making the best decisions for ourselves. And fear is there because we're afraid we're going to make the wrong decision and then have to live with regret. Sometimes fear is there because while we can say, well, other people can find their way through this decision, but I can't. Like sometimes it's a fear that I can't do it. So the last piece is this idea of I don't know, right? We indulge this. Well, I don't know what to do. I don't know what step to take. And until I magically know, I'm not going to move forward. So let's just talk about I don't know. So I don't know keeps you stuck. Indulging confusion is going to keep you stuck, right? And if you even just get to the point of where you're able to tell yourself the absolute truth, like I'm not going to have this hard conversation with my spouse because I'm scared. Then you can get at what am I scared of and what am I going to do about it? Right? As soon as you start telling yourself the truth, now we've got something to work with. But if we just stay in, well, I don't know what to do, or I don't know why I'm not having the difficult conversations, or I don't know why I'm not speaking my truth or sharing what's on my heart and mind and all of my fears. I don't know. If you stay there, you're just going to remain stuck. Okay. Now, sometimes we stay and indulge in I don't know because there's something there for us. Like we don't want to go within ourselves. We don't want to get too introspective because we're afraid of what we might find. So if that's the case, then I want to ask you, what are you afraid to know? Because oftentimes when we go within and we really get quiet and we check in with ourselves, we do know the answer. Even if we don't like the answer, we often do know what the answer is. And I think a great question when you're in that place of I don't know is, what do I know? What do I know with absolute certainty right now? Because then I can focus on that and then I won't stay stuck. So if you're someone who feels like you're fairly indecisive in your life and you'd like to be more decisive, I have some good news. And that's that this is a learnable skill to become more decisive. There was never a class on it. but it is something that you can learn. So there's three things, there's more than three, but I want to give you three things that decisive people do. They make decisions with only 70 to 75% of the information available to them. And then they move forward and they don't second guess it. The other thing is that they trust themselves. They don't know what's going to happen in the future, but they trust that whatever gets presented to them, that they're going to know how to navigate that. Whether it's good or bad or what they wanted or it's unwanted, they're going to be able to navigate it because they trust themselves and they know they've got their own back. And then the last piece, and this, my friends, is actually the quickest way to clarity, because clarity begets clarity. And here's what that means. The more you try, the more you apply, the clearer you get. Because the more you move in a new direction, you get new information. I often say that if you're stuck in indecision, it means you don't yet have enough information. So you have to get new information. You're not going to get any new information by doing the same old thing day after day after day. So the only way to get new information is to do something new. And that will help lead you to greater clarity. So if you have been struggling in your marriage for years, I want to invite you to my free live event on September the 9th through the 12th. It's about 90 minutes each day. And you can sign up for this free event by going to thedisconnectedmarriage.com. Now, one thing I want to remind you of, if you're like, hey, should I take advantage of this offer and go sign up for this free workshop? Should I take 90 minutes out of my day, 4 days in a row? Here's what I want to tell you. If you can't make the small decisions in your life, like this, whether I'm going to show up for this, I'm going to sign up and then I'm going to show up. If you can't make those small decisions, you will never be able to make the big decisions, especially one of the biggest decisions that will impact your life, your partner's life, and your family's lives forever. All right. I hope to see you there.